Hey everyone, and welcome to a deep dive today into the world of community sports coaching here in Australia. We've got a really cool learner guide from CAQA Resources. It's packed with insights, and it's going to help us understand what it takes to create a really positive experience for both the athletes and for yourself as a coach.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about this guide is it goes way beyond just like the X's and O's, like the basic tactics and skills. It dives into the legal and ethical side of coaching too, which I think is something that every coach really needs to be on top of these days.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just about, teaching those skills. It's about creating a safe and positive environment for everyone involved, making
Well,
sure everyone feels comfortable and respected. But before we kind of jump into all of that, let's paint a picture of the Australian sports scene in general, just to set the stage.
yeah, sounds good. So in Australia, sports, it's not just a pastime, it's a way of life, really. Think about footy on a crisp winter's day, the roar of the crowd at a cricket match, or the thrill of watching a swimmer just glide through the water.
I love it. And this guide actually points out that this passion for sports isn't just about, cheering on your favorite team. It's actually a massive industry.
Yeah, it's huge.
It contributes significantly to the Australian economy.
Right. And underpinning this whole ecosystem is this really complex network of organizations. Like at the top, you've got your national sporting organizations or NSOs. Think like Cricket Australia for cricket, Tennis Australia for tennis.
Yeah.
They're kind of the ones who set the rules and organize all those big events at the national level.
Okay, so that's like the big picture stuff. But what about on the ground at the local level?
Right. That's where state sporting organizations or SSOs come in. So they take those national policies and programs and implement them within each state. So they're kind of like that bridge between the national governing bodies and all those local clubs where the action's actually happening.
Okay, so we've got NSOs setting the stage, SSOs running the show at the state level, and then all these local clubs and associations where coaches like you are actually working.
Exactly. And it's important to remember this whole system wouldn't function without government agencies, industry associations, athletes, coaches, of course, and the fans. It's a complex web of stakeholders.
It is. It is. So let's zoom in on you, the community coach. Imagine you're standing on the sidelines, whistle in hand, ready to guide your athletes to victory. What does this guide say about your primary responsibilities?
Well, first and foremost, it emphasizes the importance of planning. You got to plan those training sessions like a pro. If you're coaching a local junior footy team, for example, what drills are you going to run? What skills are you going to focus on? How are you going to prepare your athletes for game day? That kind of thing.
So it's not just about showing up and winging it. There's actual strategy involved.
Absolutely. You got to have a plan. And beyond planning, there's also the whole aspect of providing guidance and support. This guide really stresses being a mentor to your athletes, someone they can trust, someone they can look up to.
That makes sense. But there must be limits to what a coach can do right. You're not a doctor.
Yeah.
You're not a sports scientist.
Yeah, that's a really crucial point. The guide's very clear about setting those boundaries. You're there to coach, not to diagnose injuries or prescribe training regimens. Know your limits. And always prioritize the safety and well-being of your athletes.
So if a player twists their ankle, you're not the one taping them up and sending them back into the game.
Exactly. That's a job for a qualified medical professional. Same goes for giving advice on things like nutrition or sports psychology. Stick to your area of expertise. Don't be afraid to refer athletes to other professionals when needed.
That's a relief to hear, honestly. Sometimes it feels like coaches are expected to be superheroes.
I get it. But remember, you don't have to have all the answers. Your role is to create that safe and supportive environment, teach the skills, and guide your athletes to be their best. And that brings us to another really crucial aspect of coaching, the legal and ethical side of things.
Okay, let's get serious for a minute. What does this guide say about the legal and ethical responsibilities of a community coach? Is it just common sense? Or is there more to it?
Well, common sense is important, but there's definitely more to it than that. This guide dives deep into some pretty heavy topics. Member protection, child protection, work health and safety. It's serious business. And it emphasizes that your responsibility goes beyond just teaching skills. It extends to safeguarding the well-being of every athlete under your care.
That sounds pretty intense. What are some specific examples of legal and ethical issues coaches need to be aware of?
Well, for starters, there's legal requirements around negligence and duty of care, so you have a responsibility to ensure the safety of your athletes and take reasonable steps to prevent injuries.
So if I set up a drill that's clearly dangerous
Yeah.
and someone gets hurt, I could be held liable.
Yeah, potentially, yes.
Yeah.
That's why it's so crucial to understand your duty of care. and to make sure your training activities are appropriate for the age and skill level of your athletes. And don't forget about insurance coverage. Accidents happen. It's important to have the proper insurance in place to protect yourself and your athletes.
Yeah, makes sense. What else should coaches be mindful of from a legal and ethical standpoint?
Well, privacy and confidentiality are huge. You'll be privy to sensitive information about your athletes. It's essential to handle that information with care and discretion.
So no gossiping about players' personal lives in the locker room.
Exactly. And remember, each NSO, like Cricket Australia or Tennis Australia, they have their own specific policies in place regarding things like safeguarding children, social media use codes of conduct, anti-doping regulations, and member protection. It's a lot to keep track of, but it really highlights the level of responsibility that comes with being a community coach.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. It sounds like being a community coach is a lot more than just teaching kids how to kick a footy or swing a cricket bat.
You got that right. It's a multifaceted role, requires a deep understanding of legal and ethical responsibilities, excellent communication and interpersonal skills, and the ability to navigate challenges effectively.
Okay, well, you've definitely given me a lot to think about. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about building that positive coaching environment. What insights does this guide offer on what makes a good coach? Is it all about technical knowledge and tactical brilliance? Or is there more to it?
While knowing your sport inside and out is definitely important, this guide stresses that it's just one piece of the puzzle. Being a good coach is about so much more than just technical expertise.
Okay, like what? Give me the inside scoop.
Well, for starters, strong interpersonal skills are key. You need to be able to connect with your athletes on a personal level, build rapport, and create a sense of trust. Think of it like being a mentor, a guide, and a cheerleader all rolled into one.
So you're saying it's not just about barking orders and running drills. There's a human element involved.
Absolutely. And along with those strong interpersonal skills, excellent communication is a must. You need to be able to convey your message in a way that resonates with each athlete, whether you're explaining a complex play or offering words of encouragement. And of course, a deep understanding of the specific sport you're coaching is essential. You need to be able to teach the skills, break down the techniques, and analyze the game.
So it's a trifecta. Strong people skills, clear communication, and in-depth knowledge of the game.
Got it. But there must be more to it than just that. What about the things that coaches do, the way they carry themselves, the example they set?
Yeah, that's a great point. The guide emphasizes that coaches are role models. Your athletes are watching you, learning from you, and mimicking your behavior. So walking the walk is really crucial. Being prepared for every training session, promoting cooperation among team members, using appropriate language, dressing professionally, and being punctual. These all contribute to creating a really productive and positive environment.
So it's not just what you say, it's how you act. Exactly. Think about it. If you show up late, unprepared, looking like you just rolled out of bed, what message does that send to your athletes?
Probably not the message you want to be sending. So being a good coach is about walking the walk, setting a good example. Any other nuggets of wisdom this guide offers about building a positive coaching environment?
Well, it really hammers home the point that self-reflection is key, continuously seeking feedback, and refining your coaching practices. That's really crucial.
So you're saying even the best coaches can always improve?
Absolutely. No one's perfect. There's always room for growth. The best coaches are the ones who are constantly looking for ways to learn and get better. They seek feedback from their athletes, from other coaches, and even from their own self-reflection.
That's a great takeaway. It's not about being perfect. It's about striving to be better. And that brings us to another crucial element of coaching, communication.
Ah, yes. Communication. It's the lifeblood of any successful team. It's how coaches convey their message, build relationships, and create that shared understanding. And this guide dives deep into the nuances of effective communication in a coaching setting.
All right, let's talk communication. What are some of the key insights this guide offers on mastering the art of coach-athlete communication?
Well, first and foremost, it stresses the importance of clear and positive communication. It's not just about barking orders or delivering technical instructions. It's about getting your message across in a way that resonates with each athlete.
So how do you do that? What are some specific strategies coaches can use to ensure their message is heard loud and clear?
Well, the guide encourages coaches to be concise, avoid jargon or overly complex terminology, and repeat important information, just to make sure it sinks in. It also highlights the importance of creating a safe space for athletes to ask questions. Remember, communication's a two-way street.
So true. It's not just about talking at your athletes. It's about engaging them in a dialogue.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of nonverbal communication. You know your body language, your tone of voice, your facial expressions. These all convey a message, whether you realize it or not.
So you're saying coaches need to be aware of their nonverbal cues. Like if you're explaining a drill with your arms crossed and a scowl on your face, your athletes might not be so receptive.
Precisely. Your nonverbal communication can either reinforce or contradict your verbal message. So it's important to be mindful of how you're coming across. The guide encourages coaches to project confidence and optimism through their body language, creating a positive and encouraging presence.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about what you say, it's how you say it and how you present yourself. Now, I imagine that different athletes respond to different communication styles. Does the guide address that at all?
Absolutely. One of the most fascinating aspects of this guide is its emphasis on tailoring your communication style to meet the needs of individual athletes. It acknowledges that different athletes have different personalities, learning preferences,
Yeah.
and communication styles.
So you're saying there's no one-size-fits-all approach to communication.
Exactly. What works for one athlete might not work for another. That's why it's so important to get to know your athletes, understand their individual needs, and adapt your communication style accordingly.
That's a great point. It's about being flexible and responsive, rather than sticking to a rigid script. Any other communication tips this guide offers?
It stresses that effective communication isn't just about delivering instructions. It's also about offering encouragement, celebrating progress, and fostering that positive coach-athlete relationship.
So it's about being supportive and building those connections.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture of open communication, where athletes feel comfortable coming to you with questions, concerns, or even just to chat.
That's really helpful. So we've talked about the importance of planning, understanding legal and ethical responsibilities, creating a positive coaching environment, and mastering the art of communication. What's next on our deep dive checklist?
Well, let's face it, no matter how well prepared you are, challenges and conflicts are bound to arise in any coaching role. It's just part of the game.
Okay, let's get real for a second. What are some of the challenges and conflicts coaches might encounter? And how does this guide suggest we handle them?
Well, this guide doesn't sugarcoat anything. It jumps right into some realistic scenarios you might encounter. You're dealing with a group of athletes with different personalities, skill levels, and motivations.
So there's bound to be some friction.
Exactly. And beyond those interpersonal issues, there might be administrative hurdles, performance slumps, or even conflicts with the parents or officials.
Yikes. It sounds like a potential minefield out there. Does the guide offer any strategies for navigating these tricky situations?
Absolutely. It wouldn't be a very helpful guide if it just dumped all these problems on you without offering solutions, right?
Right. So how do we deal with all this potential drama?
Well, the guide emphasizes clear communication as the first line of defense. When a conflict arises, it's important to address it directly, create a safe space for open and honest dialogue, and listen to all sides of the story.
So no sweeping problems under the rug.
Definitely not. Ignoring conflict only allows it to fester and grow. Address it head on, but do it with empathy and a willingness to find a resolution that benefits everyone involved.
That sounds like a good approach. But what if the conflict is more serious? Like what if there's a bullying issue or a serious safety concern?
That's where the guide's emphasis on knowing your limits and following established procedures comes in. You need to recognize when an issue is outside your scope of responsibility and when it's necessary to involve higher authorities.
So if I suspect a player is being abused at home, I shouldn't try to handle it myself.
Absolutely not. That's a situation that requires immediate intervention from qualified professionals. You have a legal and ethical obligation to report such concerns to the appropriate authorities.
Got it. So communication is key. But knowing when to escalate an issue is equally important. Any other tips for handling challenges and conflicts?
The guide stresses the importance of staying calm and composed, even when things get heated. Remember, you're a role model for your athletes, and they'll be looking to you for cues on how to handle difficult situations.
So no yelling or throwing tantrums on the sidelines.
Definitely not. Losing your cool will only escalate the situation. Take a deep breath, stay calm, and approach the conflict with a level head and a commitment to finding a constructive solution.
That's great advice. It sounds like handling challenges and conflicts effectively requires a combination of communication skills, emotional intelligence, and a solid understanding of your responsibilities and limitations. But what about those times when you need help? Does the guide address the importance of seeking assistance and supporting others in a coaching role?
Absolutely. Community coaching is not a solo sport. It's a team effort. This guide encourages coaches to build strong working relationships with everyone involved, from assistant coaches to parents to sports administrators.
So it's not just about focusing on your own little corner of the field. You need to be part of a larger team.
Exactly. And it goes beyond simply maintaining cordial relationships. It's about actively seeking assistance when you need it and offering support to others. Remember, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. By working together, you can create a more effective and supportive environment for your athletes.
That's a great point. So how can coaches foster these strong working relationships? What specific strategies does the guide recommend?
Well, it starts with respect. Just like with building relationships with your athletes, treat everyone involved with dignity and courtesy, regardless of their role or position. Be accessible and approachable. Make it clear that you're available to answer questions, address concerns, and offer support. And most importantly, be a good listener. Take the time to truly understand the perspectives of others and value their contributions.
So it's about building trust and mutual respect.
Exactly. And remember, showing appreciation goes a long way. Acknowledge the hard work and dedication of everyone involved. A simple thank you can go a long way in building strong relationships.
That's great advice. It sounds like building strong working relationships is all about communication, respect,
Yeah.
and collaboration.
Exactly. And those strong relationships are essential for creating a positive and supportive environment where everyone feels valued and empowered to contribute their best.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. We've talked about the structure of Australian sports, the multifaceted role of a community coach, the importance of legal and ethical considerations, the keys to building a positive coaching environment, and the power of effective communication.
It's a lot, but it's also important.
Absolutely. And we're just getting started. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll explore the practical skills and strategies that'll help you excel as a community coach, from designing engaging training sessions, to providing constructive feedback, to motivating your athletes to achieve their full potential. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into community sports coaching in Australia. In the first part, we talked about the big picture stuff, the structure of Australian sports, the legal side of coaching, and setting up a positive environment. Now let's get down to brass tacks and explore those essential interpersonal skills that can really make you a standout coach.
You're spot on. It's not just about drills and tactics. It's about connecting with your athletes on a human level. This guide emphasizes that building strong relationships is the foundation of effective coaching.
Okay, so let's break it down. What are some specific interpersonal skills that coaches need to master?
Well, first and foremost is respect. This guide really hammers home the point that every athlete deserves to be treated with dignity. Regardless of their skill level, background, or personality, it's about creating an inclusive environment where everyone feels valued.
That makes sense. You want to create a team culture where everyone feels welcome and supported. What else is crucial for building those strong coach-athlete relationships?
Being approachable is key. The guide encourages coaches to be open and available to their athletes. Let them know they can come to you with questions, concerns, or even just a chat.
So it's not about being this intimidating figure who only speaks in tactical commands.
Exactly. You want to create a safe space where athletes feel comfortable opening up to you. That accessibility builds trust. And trust is the foundation of any strong relationship.
Okay, so we've got respect and approachability. What about listening? I'm guessing that's pretty important too.
You're absolutely right. Active listening is a superpower for coaches. It's about really tuning in to what your athletes are saying, both verbally and non-verbally. It's about showing them that you're not just hearing them, you're understanding them.
So it's not just about nodding your head and pretending to listen while you're actually thinking about what you're going to have for dinner.
Definitely not. Active listening involves asking clarifying questions, paraphrasing to ensure understanding, and paying attention to body language. It's about making that genuine effort to connect with your athletes on their level.
That's a great point. It's about being present in the moment and giving your athletes your full attention. What other interpersonal skills does the guide highlight?
The guide emphasizes the importance of dependability. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. Whether it's showing up on time for training, following through on a promise, or simply being there for your athletes when they need you. Reliability builds trust and shows your commitment to the team.
That makes sense. Actions speak louder than words, right?
Exactly. And finally, let's not forget about appreciation. Acknowledging the hard work and dedication of your athletes, even for the small wins, can boost morale and motivation.
So a little bit of praise goes a long way.
Absolutely. It reinforces positive behaviors and creates a culture of appreciation within the team. Remember, coaching is about more than just winning or losing. It's about building relationships and helping your athletes grow and develop.
That's a great reminder. So we've covered the essential interpersonal skills that can make a real difference in your coaching journey. Now let's dive into communication styles. The guide breaks down communication into three main categories: verbal, nonverbal, and written. Where should we start?
Let's begin with verbal communication, which is obviously crucial in a coaching setting. The guide stresses the importance of using clear, concise language, avoiding jargon or overly complex terminology. Remember, you're not giving a university lecture. You're coaching athletes who need to understand your instructions quickly and easily.
So keep it simple and straightforward.
Exactly. And while clear instructions are important, the guide also emphasizes the power of positive reinforcement. Focus on what your athletes are doing well. Offer specific and constructive feedback. And always maintain a positive and encouraging tone.
That makes sense. It's about finding that balance between constructive criticism and motivation. Any other tips for effective verbal communication?
The guide encourages coaches to be good listeners, which you've already touched on, but it's worth repeating. Active listening is essential for ensuring that you're truly understanding your athletes and that they feel heard and respected.
So it's a two-way street. It's not just about delivering your message. It's about being present and engaged in the conversation.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for advice. The guide encourages coaches to reach out to more experienced coaches or experts in their field when they need help or guidance. It's a sign of strength, not weakness, to acknowledge that you don't have all the answers.
That's a great point. It shows humility and a commitment to continuous learning. Okay, let's move on to nonverbal communication. I know we've touched on this briefly, but I'm curious to hear more about what the guide says about the power of nonverbal cues.
Well, think about it. Your posture, your facial expressions, your eye contact, your gestures, these all convey a message, often more powerfully than words.
So you're saying if you're slouching on the sidelines with a bored expression, your athletes are going to pick up on that.
Absolutely. Your body language can either energize or deflate your team. The guide encourages coaches to project confidence and optimism through their nonverbal communication, creating a positive and encouraging presence.
So stand tall, smile, make eye contact, and show those athletes that you're fully invested in their success.
Exactly. And let's not forget about personal presentation. The guide suggests that coaches dress professionally, whether that means sporting team apparel or more formal attire for official events.
So ditch the stained trackies and the old band t-shirt.
Probably a good idea, especially if you're representing your team at a public event. It's about showing respect for the role and setting a good example for your athletes.
Makes sense. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about written communication. I know this might seem less important in a coaching setting, but I'm curious to hear what the guide has to say about it.
You might be surprised to learn that written communication plays a significant role in coaching. Think about all the ways written communication is used: emails to parents, memos to team members, reports on athlete progress, social media updates, and even just jotting down notes during a game.
Wow, I never really thought about it that way. It's about keeping everyone informed and connected.
Exactly. And just like with the verbal communication, clarity, conciseness, and professionalism are key. The guide encourages coaches to proofread carefully, avoid jargon, and tailor their message to the intended audience.
So no sending out grammatically challenged emails with a bunch of slang terms that parents won't understand.
Definitely not. Remember, written communication is a reflection of you and your team. Make sure your message is clear, professional, and easy to understand.
That's great advice. So we've covered a lot of ground on communication, from verbal and nonverbal cues to the importance of clear and concise written communication. Now let's shift gears and talk about something that every coach will face at some point: conflict resolution.
Conflict. It's inevitable, isn't it? Whether it's athletes clashing on the field, parents questioning your decisions, or disagreements with officials, conflict is a part of life, and coaching is no exception.
Okay, so let's not sugarcoat it. Conflict can be uncomfortable. But it sounds like this guide offers some practical strategies for dealing with it effectively.
Absolutely. The guide emphasizes that conflict, when handled constructively, can actually be an opportunity for growth and learning. It's about shifting your perspective from seeing conflict as a negative to seeing it as a chance to improve communication, strengthen relationships, and build a more cohesive team.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. So how do we go about handling conflict constructively? What are some of the strategies the guide recommends?
Well, the first step, as always, is communication. When a conflict arises, The guide encourages coaches to address it directly, don't avoid it, or hope it will magically disappear.
So no burying your head in the sand.
Definitely not. Ignoring conflict only allows it to fester and grow. Address it head on. But do it in a way that promotes open and honest dialogue. Create a safe space where everyone involved feels comfortable sharing their perspective.
That sounds like a good starting point. But what if the conflict is more complex? What if it involves strong emotions or differing viewpoints that are difficult to reconcile?
That's where active listening and empathy come in. Try to truly understand the perspectives of everyone involved, even if you don't agree with them. And remember, it's not about winning or losing. It's about finding a solution that works for everyone.
That's a great point. It's about collaboration and compromise rather than competition. Any other tips for resolving conflict effectively?
Sometimes direct communication isn't enough. The guide recognizes that in some cases. It might be helpful to bring in a mediator. A neutral third party can help facilitate a constructive conversation and guide everyone towards a resolution that benefits the team as a whole.
That makes sense. A fresh perspective can sometimes be really helpful. Now, what about those situations where the conflict escalates or becomes too difficult to manage on your own? What does the guide say about seeking assistance and supporting others in a coaching role?
That's a crucial point. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. The guide encourages coaches to build strong working relationships with everyone involved in their team: assistant coaches, parents club administrators, and even officials.
So it's about creating a network of support.
Exactly. And it's not just about having people to vent to when things get tough. It's about actively seeking assistance when you need it and offering support to others. Remember, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. By working together, you can create a more effective and supportive environment for your athletes.
That's a great reminder. So how can coaches foster these strong working relationships? What specific strategies does the guide recommend?
It starts with respect. Just like with building relationships with your athletes, treat everyone involved with dignity and courtesy, regardless of their role or position. Be accessible and approachable, making it clear that you're available to answer questions, address concerns, and offer support. And most importantly, be a good listener. Take the time to truly understand the perspectives of others and value their contributions.
This is about building trust and mutual respect, just like with any relationship.
Exactly. And remember, showing appreciation goes a long way. Acknowledge the hard work and dedication of everyone involved. A simple thank you can go a long way in building strong relationships.
That's great advice. It sounds like building strong working relationships is all about communication, respect,
Yeah.
and collaboration.
Exactly. And those strong relationships are essential for creating a positive and supportive environment where everyone feels valued and empowered to contribute their best.
Okay, so we've covered the essential interpersonal skills that can make you a standout coach, explore the nuances of effective communication, and learn some practical strategies for resolving conflict constructively. But there's still so much more to discover.
That's right. Community coaching is a multifaceted journey, and we're only just scratching the surface. In the final part of our deep dive, we'll delve into the impact and rewards of coaching and explore how you can create a truly transformative experience for your athletes and yourself. Stay tuned.
We're back for the final part of our deep dive into community sports coaching in Australia. So far, we've talked about all the nuts and bolts of coaching, plan and legalities, communication, even how to handle those conflicts that always seem to pop up. But now I want to explore something a bit deeper, the heart and soul of coaching, you could say.
I love that you called it the heart and soul, because that's exactly what this last section of the guide is all about. It's about the impact that you can have as a coach, not just on your athletes' skills, but on their lives. It's really powerful stuff.
Let's get a little philosophical here. What does this guide actually say about the broader impact of community coaching? Why is this role so important in the Australian sports landscape?
Well, it really emphasizes that. Community coaches are so much more than just trainers. You're a mentor, you're a role model, sometimes even a confidant to these kids. You're shaping the future of Australian sport, one athlete at a time.
Wow, that's a pretty big responsibility.
Yeah.
But it also sounds incredibly rewarding. What are some of the rewards that you've experienced as a coach?
Well, there's nothing quite like witnessing those aha moments. When an athlete finally grasps a new skill or overcomes a challenge they've been struggling with. Seeing that look of pride and accomplishment on their face, it's priceless.
Oh, I bet. And it's not just about those big wins, right? It's about all those smaller victories along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time an athlete shows improvement, no matter how small, it's a reason to celebrate. And those small victories, they build confidence, motivation, and a love for the sport.
So it's about fostering a genuine passion for the game, not just chasing trophies and medals.
Exactly. This guide reminds us that the true measure of success as a coach isn't just about winning or losing. It's about helping your athletes develop a lifelong love for sport, learn valuable life lessons along the way, and become well-rounded individuals.
That's a powerful message. It's about the bigger picture,
Yeah.
the long-term impact that you can have on your athletes' lives.
And it's important to remember that the impact of coaching, it extends far beyond the field or the court, the skills and values that athletes learn through sport. Teamwork, resilience, discipline, respect. Those are qualities that will benefit them in all aspects of their lives.
Yeah, that's such a good point. It's about developing the whole person, not just the athlete.
Exactly. And the guide highlights the importance of creating a positive and supportive environment where every athlete feels valued and respected, regardless of their skill level or background. It's about celebrating diversity and inclusivity, making sure that everyone has the opportunity to participate and thrive.
So it's about building a sense of community, a place where everyone feels like they belong.
Yeah, exactly. And that sense of belonging can be incredibly powerful. It can boost self-esteem, foster friendships, and create a real sense of purpose and connection.
That's incredible. So as we wrap up this deep dive into community sports coaching in Australia, what's the one key takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
I think the most important message is this. Community coaching is more than just a role. It's a calling. It's an opportunity to make a real difference in the lives of young athletes, to shape the future of sport, and to create a positive ripple effect that extends far beyond the field of play.
That's a really powerful message to end on. So to all those aspiring coaches out there, take the plunge, embrace the challenges, celebrate the victories, and remember that you have the power to make a lasting impact.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's it for this deep dive. We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit life-changing. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.